Have you ever been scrolling online, desperately looking for a part-time job that pays well? Well, today we're diving into a story that starts just like that, but ends with police at the door. It's a wild cautionary tale about how a job that looks too good to be true can land you in a world of trouble, turning you into a criminal without you even realizing it.
This right here, this question is at the absolute heart of our story today. It's a cry of pure, honest confusion, and believe me, by the time we're done, you're going to understand the chilling legal answer to that exact question. So, let's set the scene. I want you to meet someone we'll call Junho. He's in his 20s, he's feeling that financial pressure we all know, trying to find a solid job. He's doing what we all do, scrolling through job sites, looking for anything to make ends meet. And then, he spots it.
Now, take a look at this ad. It sounds so professional, doesn't it? You see words like legal firm, field agent, document delivery. And the pay? Wow, that is fantastic for what sounds like just dropping off some papers. For someone like Junho, this felt like hitting the jackpot. He applied right away.
Okay, so here's where the trap really starts to take shape. He applies online, that's normal, then he gets a message. No in-person interview due to COVID. That sounds plausible enough, right? But then all his instructions start coming through Telegram, an encrypted messaging app. And his first task, go to a cafe, meet a client, and pick up a big wad of cash for a supposed loan payment. So Junior does a few of these tasks. The money is great, it feels easy, and then his whole world just implodes. The police show up at his door, he's arrested, the charge? Fraud. It turns out those clients he was meeting were actually victims of a huge voice phishing scam. And Junho, well, he was what they call a cash mule, the person doing the dirty work for a criminal ring he'd never even met.
Picture Junho in that interrogation room, completely blindsided. His defense is simple, and from his point of view, it's the absolute truth. I had no idea. I was just doing a job. I was following instructions. I don't know who these people are. I never met them. How could I be part of their crime?
And you know what's interesting is that if this had happened years ago, some courts might have actually agreed with him. There were real cases where people in his exact shoes were let go, with judges basically saying, well, if he didn't specifically know it was fraud, he didn't have criminal intent.
And that brings us to the million-dollar question for today's world. Is "I didn't know" still a good excuse? Can you actually be found guilty of a crime you didn't fully grasp? Well, let me tell you, the answer from the legal system has gotten a lot tougher.
See, the entire legal landscape on this has shifted in a huge way, and this change is coming straight from the top. We're talking about the Supreme Court. So let's take a look at how the highest court in the land now sees the "I didn't know" defense.
The verdict is crystal clear. Guilty. In recent cases that look exactly like Junho's, the Supreme Court has been consistently shutting down this defense, overturning those lower court acquittals and sending a very, very strong message.
And this isn't just some fluke, not a one-time thing. The court's position is built on a rock-solid foundation of several key cases, like these right here. What they do is they all come together to create this new powerful legal idea about what it means to be an accomplice when crime moves online.
So why? Why the change? What's the legal thinking that gets them from "I didn't know" to guilty? Well, it really all comes down to two very powerful ideas that you need to know about.
The first one is a concept called willful blindness. It sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. It means you had that little voice in the back of your head, that gut feeling that something wasn't quite right. You suspected, even vaguely, that this whole thing could be illegal, but you went ahead and did it anyway because, hey, the money was just too good. In the eyes of the law, that's the same as accepting the criminal risk.
And the court's argument is basically, come on, you should have known, because the red flags were waving everywhere. Think about it. A job with no interview run entirely through a secret chat app? A legal firm that only deals in stacks of cash in cafes? And the pay? Way, way too high for a simple delivery gig. The court says any reasonable person would add all that up and realize they were stepping into something illegal.
And that leads right into the second big idea: criminal conspiracy. The law doesn't just see a bunch of separate people doing separate things. No, it sees a single criminal machine, and everybody involved is just a different part of that machine.
This is the perfect way to think about it. The mastermind is the brain. The people in the call center making the scam calls, they're the mouth. And the cash mules, like Junho, they're the hands and the feet. Here's the kicker. Even if the hands don't know the brain exists, they're still part of the same criminal body, all working to achieve the same goal. The moment you agree to be the hands, you're on the hook for the whole crime.
Okay, I know this is pretty sobering stuff, so let's shift gears to the most important part. How do you avoid this nightmare? Let's go through 4 simple but absolutely critical rules to keep you safe.
All right, Rule 1. If a job has no interview or it's all done on the chat app, run. That's a huge flashing red light. Real companies want to meet you. Rule 2. Never, ever, ever agree to a job where you're picking up cash from strangers. Legitimate business happens through bank transfers. And Rule 3. If they give you fake, official-looking documents to show people, you're not just helping with fraud, you're now committing forgery too.
And finally, rule number 4. This is the most urgent one. If you're watching this right now and you're getting a sick feeling in your stomach because this sounds a little too familiar, stop everything right now. They might threaten you, but trust me, the longer you do it, the worse it's going to get. The only smart move is to call the police, report it, and cooperate. It's your only shot at minimizing the damage.
You know, at the end of the day, it really does come down to that old saying. If a job promises you a ton of money for almost no work, it is almost guaranteed to be a trap. That easy money could end up costing you everything.
So that old idea that what you don't know can't hurt you, you can just throw that right out the window. Because as we've seen today, what you don't know can absolutely destroy your life. And worse, choosing to look the other way, pretending not to know when all the signs are right there in your face, the law now says that is part of the crime itself. Stay aware and please stay safe out there.